Hello and welcome to the Chop It Up Podcast, the show that's unfiltered and unapologetic. Each episode will bring you closer to finding your purpose. And for our loyal listeners, a special surprise awaits you at the end. Be sure to listen all the way through. Now, here's your host, Carmisha Superville.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Chop It Up Podcast. Super excited to have you guys back. And today we have an amazing conversation. I am so honored for this special guest, you guys. She is a gem. Literally a gem. Today, we have the honor of speaking with Britney JEANINE. She's a founder and CEO of Pivot to Launch, a powerful coaching and community platform for entrepreneurs. Britney helps entrepreneurs break the rules, pivot in their community, and fall back in love with their businesses while making it extremely success and increasing massive visibility. Britney, welcome to Chop It Up. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm so honored to speak to you. First, I am such a fan of yours, and I told you this online. Yes. I just love your rawness, your attitude, and just a wealth of information you provide. So let's talk a little bit, because I know last couple of years, we speak a lot about pivoting, right? But yeah. So I want to ask you, what has been your pivot journey, and what does it mean to be a pivot business coach?
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, I've been an entrepreneur for over 14 years. And I legit started as a wedding planner. And so most people don't know that, I wasn't always a coach. It depends on when you actually experience my brand. So I started as a wedding planner. Girl was dealing with a lot of bridezillas and was like, nah, this ain't for me. And then I moved into photography when I had my daughter, because I wanted to make sure that I was always taking good pictures of her as she was growing. And that led to family and friends like, hey, can you take pictures at my wedding? Can you take pictures here? And so I was in this photography space, and I needed to brand my photography business. So I went to YouTube University. I don't know if you know about YouTube University.
Yes, we
but
do.
I learned about design so that I could brand my photography business. So I built my own logo, my own website. And then I had many people coming to me like, hey, Brent, like, who did your branding? Can you do my branding? And so accidentally, almost, girl, I ended up having this whole branding firm. And so I stayed in the branding space for about, 5 to 6 years, until I realized that like God called me to something different. Right. And so I slowly but surely entered into coaching. And it was something I was doing all the time in my work, but I didn't realize that it had a name, so to speak. And after a while, I just sat on it. I went through some experiences with some other coaches, and I was like, how can I make this mine? And one thing God revealed to me was like, hey, girl, one thing you've done is pivoted over and over and over again. How do you put this into a package and show people how they can confidently pivot as well without compromising the credibility that they've built over time? And so that's really how I got into this work. And I'm just super excited to be able to use my own journey as the foundation, because honestly, I used to be embarrassed about all the things that I tried,
Yeah, that's amazing, Britney. I love that. So you really was the first pivoting coach, like really.
Yeah, let me tell you, when I first decided to call myself a pivot coach and a pivot strategist, I Googled, I looked all over Instagram. I was like, does this exist? And it didn't exist. And I was like, man, I'm officially the first, So there's some other pivot coaches and strategists on the scene now, which is cool. I welcome all my pivoters, but I definitely get that brag right to call myself the first.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So, you know what? Let's talk a little bit about pivot. I know, due to the pandemic, it was really tough for businesses, especially businesses of color and women-led businesses, right? Because we are juggling, womanhood, we are juggling life, family, and business. So let's talk a little bit about that. What does it mean to truly pivot in relation to business and or building community? What does it really mean to pivot from a woman's perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So from a business perspective, I teach pivoting in 3 ways: the micro pivot, the macro pivot, and the mega pivot. So the micro pivot basically means you love what you're doing right now. There's just some small things that you need to tweak or pivot inside of your business. Maybe you're not serving the right audience. Maybe your offers are off. Maybe your pricing isn't right. So that's the micro pivot. The macro pivot is like maybe you love your industry, but you're ready to show up in that industry in a different way. So let's just say you're a makeup artist, right? But now you want to become a makeup artist coach to teach other makeup artists how to build their business. That's sort of a pivot in your role. And then I have the mega pivot. That's the person who is like, yo, Britt, I built this business. I don't want to do this thing anymore. I'm going to do something brand spanking new. Or they may decide that they're leaving corporate America and now they're entering into their business full time. So there are several different pivots that you can experience in business. And it's really important to identify what type of pivot you're experiencing.
Love that.
You asked me about community too, right?
Yes.
And so when it relates to community, it's like, man, being a part of a group of individuals who also give you permission to transition. I think that's super important because even in my journey, I transitioned so much and you would have naysayers like, dang, man, you doing something new again? You doing this, you doing that. And that can make you feel like, well, maybe I'll just stay where I am because people think I'm all over the place. But when you are a part of a community who also believe in business evolution or just evolution in your life in general, then you feel more open to, explore the new areas and new ideas and all the things. So having community on your pivotal journey is so important.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Being that you said that, let's segue a little bit into the community that you have built, that you are continually building, right? I know you're a force to behold. So recently I started following you online and you were such a magnificent woman. What makes you an expert within this field? Is it your community that you have built? What makes you an expert within this space?
Yeah, you know what? I've never been asked this question, but what makes me an expert is my experience, right? I've experienced a pivot time and time again, right? And so ultimately, I can't step into this space and teach you how to strategize for a pivot if I have not gone through that myself. And so I'm an expert because I can recognize the season that you might be in because I see myself in the journey that you're experiencing. And I'm able to then use what I've gone through to help you get to that next step, A to B or A to Z, whatever that looks like for you. And so it's really my own experience. But also, I do have a community of people who support me in the work that I do. I do have, a network of other boss women who are like, Dag, Britt, keep going, keep going. And so that allows me to continue to explore and evolve into my work and give me that confidence as well.
Brittany, how important is it to build a community, have an ecosystem? How imperative it is?
Yeah, like not even just for business, right? We need communities in all aspects of our lives, like as a mom, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, we have so many hats that we wear as women, right? And so I think that we need community in every little element of our lives so that we can grow with people. Honestly, there are women who have perspective or have experiences that I have not yet had. And so I'm able to then talk to them and say, man, like you experienced this, like, how did you, get through it? Or what were the steps that you took and things of that nature? And so when you can be a part of community, it's almost like having mentorship across the board. You know what I mean? And so it's really important to have sort of this, element of women. We all as women got our group chats, I don't know if you got a group chat with women, but group chats and all of that. I got a girlfriend group. It's 6 of us in this group and we talk, we explore, we talk about, relationships. We talk about business. We talk about all of the things. And so community is really important because we can't do life alone. We ain't designed to do life alone,
I love that. I love
Absolutely.
that. I feel compelled to ask you because, I think there is so much at times difficulty in really finding that community, even for me as a career-driven woman, right? And there are many of our listeners who, if we are honest with ourselves, we try to build with other ecosystems or create it, but it's sometimes there's strife, sometimes there's, Let's talk a little bit about that, the realness of that, because it's not easy to build those ecosystems or to find those like-minded individuals. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think that first starts with being open. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that as you're looking to be a part of a certain community or whatever the case may be, you have to realize that one, you got to be open, and two, you got to look for those similarities that call you, you know? And so when I find that I'm a part of a group, it's because we're all doing something that's maybe similar. We might be doing it different, but it's similar in a sense, right? And so finding those areas where we can have conversations and being a part of a group of women or a group of men, whoever's your listener, that are all kind of moving on that same path. Now, I hear what you're saying, where it's like, man, sometimes it's not always welcomed, right? Sometimes like, you can't sit with us, you can't eat with us kind of vibes. And yeah, I don't like that. But at the end of the day, is that somewhere you want to sit anyway? You know what I mean? And so I'm never one to want to force a seat at a table that I'm not welcomed at, right? But ultimately find a table that's like, girl, come on, you can come rock with us. You know what I mean? And so you got to look for those people who are open, who are kind, you know, who are transparent, who are honest, who are loyal. You know, you got to find that. But sometimes it takes dating those opportunities for a little bit before you jump in straight in. Because let me tell you, I've jumped into some things like, yay, and then be like, hold on. Was this what I was signing up for? You know, and so it's on us to take those appropriate steps that we need to make sure that we're part of a community that actually welcomes us.
Oh my gosh, girl, I love that. I think we can drop the mic here and end the conversation right here.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you provided perspective, and it's such of value in what you provided. And you're absolutely right. All right, girl. So let's talk a little bit about, shift the conversation a little bit about mental wellness and just overall wellness. So you balance a lot. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a trailblazer, you're a founder, you're an owner, and so much more. How does Britney Jeanine maintain or balance her wellness, her self-care?
Girl, sometimes, right? Sometimes, you know, like, first off, we always talk about this whole balance thing. And I've learned from, you know, friends in the industry, and I've heard and I've listened, and it's like, man, in reality, you're never really balanced. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're pouring into your business, something else is going to maybe take a fall for that moment of time. When you're pouring into, you know, relationships, something else is going to, so I can't really say that there's balance, but there are priorities. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, my family is number one. We got God and my family. That's number one. And everything that's after that, they come after that. Right. And so I think ultimately, before you can talk about balance, you got to realize what your priorities are and what is non-negotiable when it comes to that, you know? And so as a wife, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, yeah, man, I'm balancing so much. But at the end of the day, my wellness comes because I give myself grace. You know, and so when you give yourself grace and you're not so hard on yourself, my husband used to tell me, like, he even tells me sometimes, so he's like, babe, you're so hard on yourself. Just give yourself a little bit of grace. And then you have that, you know, that capacity to be like, it's okay. I'm human. I'm unable to show up for that event right now. I'm unable to show up for this. I got to pour into me, you know, and we often hear that conversation of self-care, self-love. And we think as women, that means, oh, I'm going to get my nails done, my massage, my this, whatever the case may be. No, sometimes that means you going in and you sitting in a therapy chair because you need to actually heal some trauma that you've experienced in your past. You need to heal some things that you might be going through when the world tells you you still got to show up and be strong, right? And so wellness is really about, you know, you actually working on that mental health and make sure that you're showing up for yourself and you're working with a professional that can guide you in those areas. Sometimes you don't even know that you got trauma that you're dealing with because you actually putting it on the back burner time and time again, you know? And so wellness for me is like taking care of my mental health so that I'm good for my clients, so that I'm good for my family, so I'm good all around as a woman.
Oh my gosh. Britney, I got you're my new girl crush.
Gladly.
Man,
oh man.
Love it.
Oh, what's such an honor.
Yes. God, this is beautiful. All right, let's talk about womanhood. You know, recently there has been a lot of talk about women's rights and really interesting time within our country. So I would like if you can provide our listener, which is 70% are women, right now in this space, what are some encouraging words that you can provide for us women we feel under attack? How has your
Yeah.
womanhood been defined?
Yeah. This is a tough conversation. It's so tough, but like at the end of the day, it's like the world needs you, right? If I'm talking to women specifically, the world needs you. The world does not move without a woman. We
Mm,
birth babies, right? We are the ones that, bring the seeds into the earth. You know what I'm trying to say? And so, man, I don't ever want a woman to feel like she's not needed or she's not loved, she's not deserving, I without getting too deep on the politics and all of the things, it's like, God, dog, how much ish do we got to go through? You talk about pay, you talk about opportunities. Now we're talking about abortion. We're talking about all of these things. And it's like, I feel like, man, you get me a little emotional. I feel like we always have to be strong in
yes.
this world. And I want to give somebody permission and letting you know, you don't have to be. It's okay to cry. It's okay to need help. It's okay to not understand. It's okay to show up as yourself. And I think that we need to start giving each other that permission and that grace, right? When we feel hard on ourselves, when we feel we're not desired, when we feel all of those things, right? To be able to exist and have somebody to say, it's okay. You don't got to smile if you don't feel like smiling right now, because as women, we know how to smile through some things when we're going through some of the toughest seasons of our lives. But we also need that girlfriend, that connect, that's going to say, hey, I see you. You don't got to be strong right now, So
I love that. I
yeah,
love that.
that's tough.
Recently, I had a moment like that. I was in a meeting with a female executive in a powerful position. And I just got a little bit, twinkly eye. Like I really got not necessarily emotional, but I felt overwhelmed. And she stopped me. She said that, which was very interesting. She said, no, we're not doing that here. We're not doing that here. And, I was with my business partner, and my business partner said, in her role, she has to be tough, Kamisha. And there is no opportunity for anything else. But I love that you said that sometimes we also have to allow each other that space.
Yeah.
But not all spaces we can share those emotions as well. So how do you decipher when it's comfortable, when it's welcoming to maybe tear up, to shed a tear? How do you decipher that as a career-driven woman?
See, the reality is we should be able to feel free enough to be ourselves if we are in the right spaces. You hear what I'm saying? And so as that woman who's in that space, who you said, man, you can't do that right here. To me, that says you are around people who do not accept you as you are, who do not accept the emotions that come with you, who do not accept the knowledge that you bring to the table. Now, I get what you're saying. Like, I'm not going to be tearing up at every little meeting here, there, every business opportunity. But at the end of the day, if I can't show up fully as myself, I don't want to be in that room. You hear what I'm saying? And so I don't necessarily have to decipher in the spaces that I moved. I'm talking about Britney. In the spaces that I move, do I have to be like, oh, can I be vulnerable? Like, can I? No, because if I do my homework, I'm already in a space that accepts me the way that I am. The way that I walk, the way that I talk, the way that I wear my hair. You hear what I'm saying? I've come from corporate America where I had to relax my hair, take out my braids for interviews, make sure I'm buttoned up, make sure I'm not speaking the way that I speak. I got to be, hi, how? Like, no, I don't want to do that. And so because of that, I'm no longer in those spaces because those spaces don't accept me as I am. And so I think we have to do our work and realizing that the places that we need to bless need to make sure that they are allowing us to be a blessing, right? So anyway, I can go on and on for that.
Love it. Oh my gosh, Britney. All right, Britney. Yes, we can have you literally go on and on. Thank you for that.
I can go on and on that one.
You know what? I I wanted to share it because, there is a young woman that's listening, and I want us to have a balanced conversation whereby it's not, like you said, corporate. Like, we have to ensure, like you said, doing your research and ensuring that there is a balancing act, right? Because we are women and we are not men. And I feel a lot of times when we are in certain spaces, we have to move very restricted or structured. And I think now is high time where we show some color, where we show truly.
Absolutely.
Of course. So Britney, as we wrap up, share some practical, if you don't mind, sharing some practical tips, right, on how to excel with balancing life and career. You're doing it day after day. Practical tips for us females.
Absolutely. Like, this also goes back to what I talked about, your priorities, right? So first, understanding what your priorities are when you are stepping into every single day, right? Ultimately, like, if family comes first, make sure family comes first in your day. If business is later, let business be later. Those clients will be there. You know what I'm saying? Again, that going back to that grace, give yourself grace when you might fall out of alignment or out of balance, right? And so giving yourself that permission as well. And the other thing that I always have to tell myself is, I say this on most podcasts, is you are the juice. It's time to serve it up organic and fresh squeezed. If you can keep that mindset of, I'm the juice, man. Nobody can do this the way that I do it. I am the sauce. If you can keep that mindset, you'll show up in your spaces a little bit differently. You know what I mean? And so when it goes back to that whole balancing life and career, again, I don't think that there is an equal balance, right? But making sure that you're in alignment and doing something that you love. Make sure you're around people that you love, because showing up becomes easier. So if you're in relationships with people you love, if you're doing business and you're doing work that you love and you're passionate about, it all just sinks and it feels good. So I want to make sure that anybody listening to this, that you feel that you are in alignment right now. Ask yourself, is the things that I'm doing, am I passionate about it? And if not, can we make a change? It's okay, right? And so that's what I would say.
God bless you. God bless you.
Same to you. Same to you.
Britney JEANINE, business coach and strategist. God is going to anoint you because you are walking in his favor. And personally, I just want to thank you. I know we don't know each other a whole lot, and I called you out of the blue, and you was like, "Who is it?"
Which I respect, man. I respect it so much.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for dropping gems and just chopping it up with us. So besides the masterclass, how else can our listeners tap in and support you and be a part of this amazing community that you're building?
Absolutely. You can all follow me on Instagram at Britney JEANINE. Every week I do a series where I'm talking about a new perspective on a topic in business, how you can pivot your thinking in the way that you're showing up in that area for that week. I also have a membership called Pivot to Launch. I would love to welcome you inside. We have speakers that come in every month. We're doing work together. I'm coaching in group settings and one-to-one. So come over here, get this pivotal work. You
have a masterclass tonight. You have a workshop tonight.
Yeah, it's tonight. Yep, it's tonight. Yes.
At 7 p.m.
We're talking with Allie Craigsman. She's the author of a book called How to Build a Goddamn Empire. And we're talking all about money and pivoting and venture capital and all of the things tonight. So yeah.
Britney JEANINE, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, we will chop it up with y'all later. If you love this episode, as you already know, subscribe, do the darn thing. And actually, before you go, we teamed up, ladies and gents, we have teamed up with Blink Fitness. And for this summer, we are giving away to 2 lucky listeners. We are giving away a full year membership. So if you want to get healthy and get fit, because we are talking about wellness, definitely tap in. You can follow our social media pages for all the information. 2 lucky listeners will get 2 full year membership to attend any bling fitness of their choice. All right, follow our social media. Again, Britney, our guest, we want to thank you so much. Please follow. We're going to share all our information about her upcoming workshop and everything. Britney, God bless you. Thank you. We'll see you on the next Chop It Up.